everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crush That Exam. My name is Dr. Erica Liggins, licensed clinical psychologist and exam coach. I am so excited to share another story of someone who has overcome their licensing exam. And this time, we are going to talk about the NCE exam. So, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Davis. I live in Michigan. I am a counselor. I studied for the NCE, and Erica was my coach throughout this entire process. Um, Going into studying for this exam, I was nervous. I didn't know how I was going to do. I get test anxiety, but Erica was really helpful with helping me work through the test anxiety that I had, and really just preparing me overall throughout the whole study process, how to go about studying, how many hours out the week to go about studying, really helping to set and solidify a process throughout this entire ordeal. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, actually, I want to say really quickly. So, you work full time
Oh, yeah.
in a high level director position, and so life was busy,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
you have a child. Tell us a little bit about
Yes.
about
Yes.
what that was like, trying to be a working professional with a family, a small child. uh,
Mhm.
what was it like trying to study for the exam prior to seeking coaching services?
Prior to seeking coaching services, it was definitely a challenge. Um, for years of being out of school, I've been out of school since 2019. So really just sitting down and trying to study material, just totally different for me. Feel like I lost my groove. So that was definitely a challenge. I am a director and I work in corrections, working a full-time job, mom of a 2-year-old toddler. I'm also a wife. So trying to balance family time as well as studying, as well as having a full-time job was a whole lot. Um, I definitely consider this exam another job, maybe a part-time job. It definitely required a lot of diligence on my part, really setting my mind to it. I'm thinking about my long-term goals of what I want to accomplish as a professional. And just understanding that this exam it doesn't define me. It's just something that I have to do in order to sustain the license that I have, which in turn, sustains my position as a director working in the jails. So,
Absolutely. And so you had quite a bit of pressure on you because you needed to pass this test in order to keep doing the work that you do and maintaining that position. So how did you find out about my services, and what made you choose me of all people?
great questions. A friend basically went to the same college as me. We connected on a group counseling psychology um, group on Facebook. And so from there, we kind of helped to motivate each other as study partners. And she was already working with Erica as well as meeting with me. And we kind of held each other accountable. Um, I felt like I still needed some more instruction. And she told me about Erica and what Erica's services entailed and how pretty much she felt like it was actually effective. At this point, I had been studying for a little bit and I was not consistent with my study styles at all. And I didn't really have a flow or know how to really navigate or what material to study for. So um, I felt like getting a coach would help me. And it absolutely did help me come up with some structure and a format for studying for the NCE.
Beautiful. And so let's talk about, when you look back, the coaching program includes the audio program, which helps you to learn my strategy, my whole system. And then we met one on one for sessions. And then you also came to some of the study groups to help hold you accountable. So, out of all of that combined, what were maybe the top three things about the coaching program that really helped you to achieve this goal?
I think that so definitely learning the snowball method, that definitely helped a whole lot. Um, Again, it provided more structure and it helped me to hone in on the areas that I may not be as sharp at and the areas that I am more sharp at, and really just helped me to determine what areas I needed to study first. Um, so as far as like maybe if I didn't really have a lot of knowledge on a certain area, or maybe um if it was more represented on the exam, I would hone in on that more than something that may have been a smaller content area that maybe I'm more familiar at. So the snowball method was definitely helpful for that. The next thing I would say definitely the group meetings that we had. Um, I used to attend the Saturday meetings that took place, and that really helped me. um, that really helped me to kind of know like how long I need to be studying for, when to take a break. Um, that really put a lot of stuff in perspective. Like, okay, I was doing it all wrong before. I was studying for too long and not giving myself enough breaks. So then I would kind of burn out and I wasn't really retaining the information. But actually doing that and doing that as a group and being able to break off into little meetings just to talk about what areas I'm studying in with other people was really helpful for me. So even if we weren't studying for the same exam, so I do have a psychology background, but I wasn't studying for the EPPP for this exam. I was studying for the NCE. But a lot of the different concepts, or a lot of the concepts on the NCE, can be very similar to what you study for the EPPP. And so I still feel like it was still effective for me to study in those groups that took place. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely, right? Because the exams are similar. There are some overlapping areas, and it's relatable. It's relatable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just being able to
Yeah.
connect with other people and say, okay, well, I'm going to work on this and you're going to work on that, and just having that real time accountability. I mean, there's just nothing else that matches that, right? Because when we're by
Absolutely.
ourselves,
And you know what? I feel like throughout the process, and I feel like you really kind of pushed me to like dig deeper and really just I feel like you helped to expose like, hey, you really have an imposter syndrome mindset sometimes. And you really need to check that. So I feel like that was probably my third thing that I really liked when I met with you, because I always knew going into our coaching meetings that you were going to challenge me in some regard, and I felt like I needed that. So I think that was beneficial, sure.
yeah. And that's the part that people don't realize they're going to get when they sign up for coaching, right? They think they're just going to come and learn some testing strategies and like figure out how to study. But the personal and professional development piece that comes along with this is just priceless. I mean, I have seen some really radical personal transformations that have happened through studying for this exam, because the way you have to go about this, it just really shines a light on you. So if someone needs to learn more discipline, this process is going to show them that, and it's going to challenge them. If they
Yeah.
need to improve their confidence in themselves, this process is going to shine a light on that. And if you're open to it, you can come out of this process not only with a passing score on the exam, but also things like more confidence, more discipline. Some people learn how to set boundaries with people
Yeah.
because they have to. In order to make the time for studying, they have to learn how to say no to things and how to put themselves first. So it has just been such a joy to be able to coach people. And I think one of the things I like most about coaching people, specifically like you, is being a non traditional test taker. Like, you're a mom, a wife, a
Right. Yeah.
homeowner,
Yeah.
so
Other
you had
responsibilities.
you had a lot of responsibilities, you didn't have a lot of time. So we had to get really creative with how we made this process work for you.
Yes. And I thank you for dealing with me throughout this entire process. Definitely required a lot of creativity. And I felt like you stuck with me like the entire way throughout it, even during times where I just kind of wanted to throw in the towel and give up. I felt like you kind of were there to help motivate me to stay consistent with studying. It definitely required me to exercise boundaries in my life, in regards to other people. Like, oh, well, I can't go with my friends this weekend. I can't go out there. I can't go out and hang out. I have to study. I have these priorities. And I always kept in the front of my view, like, okay, well, once I do overcome this exam, then I'll be able to do all the things that I want to do and all the things just my desires and responsibilities. Like, I can really get back to that and be all in. And so I just kept that there in the forefront of my mind. And yeah.
Oh, I love it. And now you just get to do what you want to do, which we're going to talk more about at the end. But
Mhm.
during this process, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome?
I think, I guess just showing up. Some days I didn't even want to study. Like, especially if I was having a long day at work and it went over 8 hours that I was at work,
Mhm.
coming home and studying and, like just reading the content and being bored and tired. Like,
Yeah.
those days were tough. Okay. And so I think trying to make sure that I met the goals for the week as far as the hours, I feel like that was a little tough sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, because again, you were in a director position, you had a lot of responsibility on you, then coming home to family life. I mean, it was a lot to juggle, and I know you were tired.
I was tired. And then, like, just being in a management role, you're dealing with people, right? We're dealing with people anyways because we're a helping professional. But managing other clinicians that are in the field is something else. So you're managing issues that are happening at work between colleagues. You're trying to be the mediator, but then you're also coming home and you're trying to study for this exam, but then also maintain good relationships in your household with your husband or your wife, your partner, whoever, that can be a lot.
It is a lot. Oh my gosh. And that's why, when I coach people, it's not, even though everyone's following the snowball method, no two people's snowball method looks exactly the same because it has to be totally customized to you and who you are and where your strengths and weaknesses are and your schedule and what you can give based on where you are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you could look back and do anything differently about the way you approach this whole thing, is there anything that you would change?
I never thought of that question for myself before. Um, I think that if I could change some things, it probably would be just kind of counting myself out, like probably trying to empower myself more. Like I, as you know, like to push test dates out. um, for this particular exam, I had that like urge to push out my date because I was worried that I wasn't gonna pass the exam. But I think if I could change anything, it would just be to have more confidence in myself and my abilities because I really underestimated my abilities. And luckily, I didn't end up pushing out my test date, and I went in there and took the exam and passed on the first attempt. But just my history and how I feel about exams, and if I don't pass, like, are just that fear, you know, just it is just very provoking. So I didn't really have that. I had that fear. I had that provoking fear, but I was able to pass this exam.
Right.
So I think just having the confidence and going in there like with a better attitude.
Yeah, I think the same thing for myself. Looking back, I mean, I literally made myself sick. I was literally
Mhm.
worried sick when I first started studying for it until I learned how to reframe my thinking and all that. But I just think about the months I spent in avoidance and struggling in and out of studying before I figured out what to do and how to get myself together.
Yes.
And I'm just like, wow, if I had just known what I know now, or someone could have really held my hand and walked me through that, I would have not gone through all that.
Mm,
But that's okay because we live and we learn. And now you know not to doubt yourself anymore like that.
right.
That's going to
Yeah.
help you moving forward in every step of your career. So, really quick, the day before your exam,
Mhm.
what did you do? What did the day look like?
I focused on trying to relax as much as possible. So I tried to stay off of social media. Try to stay off social media, try to just find like more soothing things to do. Or I took the day off before my exam, which I always planned to do. But you end up talking me into taking the 2 days before my exam off. And I really am happy that I did that. So I was able to do that. I still tried, and I tried not to, but there were times where I was like looking at my note card, my flashcards, and like studying, just kind of going back over like the things that I may have been spotty on. Um, couldn't resist that piece, but really just kind of make sure that I had, sorry, just really try to make sure that I was like in a relaxing mood, not too much stuff going on around me. My husband really helped to make sure that everything was peaceful by dealing with my daughter.
Oh,
When she would have tantrums and whatnot, like, if I'm watching a show or whatever, he really kind of dealt with her in those moments. He really did a whole lot to make sure that I had a stress-free environment as much as possible. So I just really just relaxed. Didn't get any massages or anything like that, but like just relax and watch TV and try to stay off social media.
beautiful. So, two more questions for you. The first one is, you were blessed to pass this exam on the first try because you had a coach supporting you the whole way through. But sometimes new test takers actually are the hardest to be open to coaching because they may think, oh, I don't need that, or I can figure this out. So, what would you say to someone who's a new test taker to the NCE exam and they're like, well, I don't know that I need a coach. Why would I do this? So, what would you tell them as, who's like doubtful about it?
I think I would say basically kind of just self-reflect and examine your current circumstances. Like, where are you at? Are you distracted by a lot of things going on in life? Do you find it hard to really sit down and study? Like, what are your bad habits? Trying to identify that. And if you feel like those bad habits are bad enough that they're impacting you negatively and being able to really this study for this exam alone, then maybe you need to consider getting a coach.
Mhm.
I mean, the more help, the better, oftentimes, So, just trying to figure out basically what are your bad habits and are they like very overt?
Yeah, because this process really shows us ourselves, right? And
Most
the good, the
definitely.
bad, and the ugly.
All
So,
of it.
as we kind of wrap up for today, what is one thing that you're excited about in your professional career, as well as one personal thing that you're excited about now that you're, fully licensed and you just get to have your life back now?
I would say basically just the amount of opportunity that has opened for me now that I have passed this exam. Um, so opportunity as far as job opportunities in my area, as far as an increase in pay. Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
we love that. So like those are things that really excite me. I think that now that I've passed this exam, just knowing that I can get back to my life and resume certain things. Like I've been since passing this exam, I've been more active at exercising. I'm trying to prioritize my health. Actually decorating my home. I've been in a new house for about 2 years now. And I told myself that I'm not doing anything. I'm not decorating, doing anything of that nature until I actually pass this exam. So that was a huge motivating factor for me. And so since then, I have been like trying to uh, decorate different rooms and, you know, come up with different styles and whatnot. And it's really just fun. Like it feels fun to have that freedom to do that without this exam in the back of my head, like, oh, I gotta pass this.
Mhm. That is actually something that a few other coaching clients have shared with me after they passed the exam. You know, they had little projects that they wanted to do in their homes, whether it was decorating or like little home improvement projects that were just sitting there. Sometimes that they would have the supplies and everything, and they would just walk past it every day, wishing that they had the
Or
time to really get into it and do it. And as soon as they passed, that was like one of the first things they did was just run and like start
yeah,
making their house a home. You know, we
right.
spend
And
a lot
not
of
to
time in our
mention,
home, so mhm.
not to mention, but like also like I have more time I can spend with my daughter now. And I love that for me. And my husband loves that too, because he gets a break. So I'm spending way more time with her. You know, just trying to learn her, what her interests are, trying to get her involved in more things. And so I'm just really appreciative that I can do that now. And I feel like even though she's a toddler, I feel like she's becoming closer to mommy. And I love that for me because she's such a daddy's girl, you know? So yeah.
You're like, "I want my baby back now."
Yes, I love it. She loves me so much.
Oh, well, now that you are, free from the NCE exam, I really wish you just nothing but connection,
For sure.
prosperity, and tons of relaxation.
Absolutely. I receive all of that. Absolutely.